As we all know, Democrats have a nasty habit of trying to take credit for things Republicans did, while at the same time laying blame on Republicans for what Democrats did. And when Democrats get caught lying about what they try to take credit for and passing blame, they try to say that the parties switch sides. And when they get busted with that lie, they try to say that the ideology switch side. Are you starting to see a pattern here?
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
If you see a pattern here because there's a meme going around that poses the same question as it asserts a list of lies. And yes, I do see a pattern. Let's look at this list posted by another slander-happy liberal named Steve Marmel. First lie: conservatives oppose the American Revolution. Liberals won. So conservatives oppose the American Revolutionary War and liberals won it? Liberals. The ones who love to flash that bumper sticker that says war is not the answer, or war doesn't decide who's right, only who's left, or coexist, or make love not war, who accuse conservatives of being bloodthirsty warmongers, yet all of a sudden these liberals who pride themselves as pacifists are bragging about winning a war and accusing the battle-hungry conservatives of being against it? Okay, see, you liberals need to understand that being a liberal and a liberator are two totally different things. Next, conservatives supported slavery, liberals won. Classic prime example of the cowardice of Democrats. When it's revealed that Democrats are the ones who represented the Confederacy, and mind you, there's also the Northern Democrats who wanted to keep slavery legal, but did not agree with secession. The left-wingers today try to throw people off the scent of the Democrats' slave-demanding history by saying it was conservatives so as to confuse people and associate this stigma with Republicans. And the reason why it's so very, very, very easy for left-wingers to make that association of conservatives with Republicans is very simple. Because the Republican platform was founded on conservative interpretation of the Constitution anyway. The Democrat Party always had a liberal interpretation of it. That's a big part of why it was so easy for them to claim the term liberal. If you take liberties with the Constitution, you will conclude that it's okay to force someone to be your property. That is a very liberal interpretation of the Constitution, and that's exactly what Democrats did. They took the liberty to pull some wild justification for slavery out of their donkey hole that was totally antithetical to the Constitution. Meanwhile, it was the Republicans who viewed the Constitution very conservatively and kept to what the Constitution says. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That's when liberals try to squirm out of it and try to downplay Lincoln as a Republican and say that Lincoln didn't care about freeing the slaves anyway, and the war wasn't about freeing the slaves. Oh, and I'll remind those self-righteous pacifist liberals who say that war is not the answer while trying to claim Lincoln as a liberal. For Lincoln, war was the answer, whenever you think the war was over. But I offer this, even Karl Marx knew that the Civil War was about slavery. He even sent Lincoln a letter congratulating him on the war to end slavery. Karl Marx was very zealous about ending the exploitation of laborers. The problem with Marx, though, was that he was so overzealous about it that his worldview puts exploitation power in the hands of the state. And on a side note, I'm really disappointed that people, including Republicans, has asked me if this is Karl Marx on my shirt. As long as I've been doing Christian conservative pro-capitalism Republican commentary, you look at this shirt and Karl Marx is the guy that comes into your mind? Really? Not Frederick Douglass? The guy who said, I am a dyed-in-the-wool Republican whose image is on this Republican's shirt? And you go with Karl Marx? Anyway, that same liberal interpretation of the Constitution with Democrats exists today. They took liberties to say it's okay to force someone to be their property. By doing what? Disqualifying their personhood. And Democrats do that today. Insist that the Constitution doesn't consider blacks human. You'll often hear them try to assert that the Constitution says that blacks are 3/5 human, and the Constitution doesn't say that at all. They use that excuse to justify slavery. Now they use it today to make blacks angry and demanding of justice. And it instigates the black community to be spiteful of the Constitution, and with that, the Democrats are able to put a new kind of shackle on blacks. Democrats twisted the Constitution to put blacks in chains, and the Democrats twist the Constitution today to get blacks to put themselves in chains. And just as Democrats took the liberty to disqualify the personhood of blacks to justify making them property to do with them as they please, Democrats take liberties today to do the same thing and disqualify the personhood of the child in the womb and insist that it's the female's property to kill it if it so pleases her. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation, and I'll continue addressing this meme in the next ZoNation. Donkey hole.